What if your home sold for $80,000 above list price? Now, you're probably thinking, how is this even possible? Well, believe it or not, right now, that's exactly what's going on. We just recently sold Dartmouth Way for $81,000 above list price. Hi everyone, I'm Jaime Gonzalez, owner and realtor of Jaime Homes and with eXp Realty. So if you saw my previous video, you found out one of the strategies that we use to make sure you actually get to keep the money that you went in a contract for. Now, if you're trying to sell your home for more than it's worth or more than what your neighbor sold it for, there's a couple of things you might want to try to do. One is find out if the buyer is willing to remove the appraisal contingency altogether. Now, most buyers are probably not going to want to do that. So in that case, what you want to try to do is see if the buyer is willing to pay you a specific amount above the appraisal price. Of course, this is not to exceed the purchase price. So Jaime, how is this helpful and why does it even matter? Well, let me tell you, if a buyer really wants your home, they may be willing to pay anything for it. But like we learned before, a bank's only going to give them a loan at what it appraises for. Now, if the buyer removes the appraisal contingency altogether, they're basically saying that they're willing to pay the difference between the appraisal price and the purchase price. Now, for example, let's say your home goes into contract for $600,000. The appraisal comes back at $590,000. The buyer now has to come up with $10,000. Let's say it appraises for $580,000, that's $20,000. It appraises for $570,000, that's $30,000. Now you see, without an appraisal contingency, that's like the buyer writing a blank check. They have no idea what it's going to come back appraised, and no matter what price, they have to make up their difference. That's why a lot of buyers are afraid to do this. So the good news is that there's another option. That other option is to have the buyer agree to pay a specific amount above the appraised value, just in case it doesn't appraise. Now let's run through a quick scenario. Let's say the agreed upon purchase price is $600,000, but based on your agent, it's probably not going to appraise for $600,000. So what do? Option one would be a counter out and appraisal contingency removal. Option two, that's when you go and find out how much the buyer is willing to pay over the appraised value. So now let's say the buyer says they're willing to pay $15,000 above the appraised value. If the home comes back appraised at $580,000, that means the buyer is going to put $15,000 towards the purchase, leaving the purchase price at $595,000. Now, that would also mean the buyer would be getting $5,000 less because the original purchase price was $600,000. Again, there's a lot to consider when you're selling your home, and it's not always cut and dry. So what's the answer? How do you protect yourself? Call a professional. I'm Jaime Gonzalez with Jaime Homes, and remember, everyone promises an extraordinary service, but only a few can deliver.